Do you know what is by far the weirdest thing about this brand new tier 10 tank destroyer in World of Tanks? NC-70 Blyskawica. It is the gun sound. Listen this. Yeah. To deal 674 damage and to sound like a tier 5 light tank with a stock gun, well, it simply doesn't go together. And we had quite a lot of laughs when playing with it and when playing against it. You know, 1 versus 1 face hugging, slapping each other for 800 alpha damage and then sounding like that. It is kind of funny, but I understand why it is like that, because, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful people, I welcome you back to the update 1.24.1's test server, where today I'm going to test out this brand new tier 10 Polish tank destroyer called NC-70 Blyskawica, but I think I'm going to call it NC-70 simply. And we have a new mechanic coming as well with those vehicles. Starting from tier 8, they call those shells start ray shells, which deal more damage based on the distance, and they're most effective at the range up to 50 meters. As the distance increases, the loss of kinetic energy leads to a gradual decrease in damage. This is how they officially describe it. And why the gun sounds like that? Well, while the barrel itself I think is 175 millimeters, then the inside diameter of the shells and the weird shape of it is only 85 millimeters. So we are firing 85 millimeter shells basically over here, and this is why the gun sounds like that. And you can see that there is actually a damage indicator as well. Sadly, replay files are kind of broken. It is not showing. Oh, there it was. When I was hovering over it in third person in replay files, you can see the damage indicator on the top of the aiming circle, which shows you live average alpha damage you have at that range. And then the gun simply works 651 or 646, whatever it was, as average alpha damage. And you know, this has plus minus 25% RNG as well automatically, of course. It is always visible inside the game for you, but replay files, you know, replay files are always a bit buggy in this game. Outlines not showing and whatnot, but this is always visible, so you will see what is your alpha damage at that range. At 500 meters it shows you 300 alpha damage. So sniping with this, you know, well, if you have a shot, deal damage. 300 damage is 300 damage anyway, guys. But how I feel about this tank after first days of testing? Well, of course, the matchmaking was kinda scuffed because it was filled with those tanks, but on the other hand, you know, we had a lot of opportunities to learn how to play against it, to learn how to damage it. Well, honestly, there was not much to learn because, guys, they nerfed the Minotauro to introduce this, which is as annoying hull down. It's basically the same thing. It has a weak lower plate, but when it is hull down, it doesn't have too many things to damage, to shoot, because the frontal plate is angled, the frontal superstructure is angled, and when you're hull down using some of your gun depression, getting even more angle to your armor, well, you are going to bounce many shots, you know, on the flat ground, let's say. In this battle I was kinda hull down, but enemies were a little bit on the higher ground, devaluing my armor. They did penetrate some things, but as you saw, not the most reliably. I actually got some bounces over there as well. And at the end game over here, we simply went in and slapped because that battle was already over. On this server, you can get to know the vehicle a bit, but it is going to perform a little bit different on live server because there you are facing tier 9s, tier 8s. Battles are a little bit slower paced. But overall, it's pretty good, yeah? It's actually pretty damn good, especially in close range, and this is how I am building my tank as well to be more aggressive. I have actually improved aiming, rammer and turbo in this tank as my main setup, and rammer, improved aiming and ventilation as secondary. Depends on the map, depends on the situation, and the DPM in close range is nutty. It is simply nutty, guys. Around 4,800 is your DPM potential in close range fights, and there are not too many tanks that can do that. There are not too many tanks, basically any tanks in this game that has 800 alpha and 10-second reload. but once again in close range. But you still have solid alpha damage, let's say up to 150 meters away or 200 meters away. You have 600, 550, 700 alpha damage, which is still not bad for a 10-second reload. Now in this situation, luckily the damage indicator is working properly in this replay. You can see 350 meters away, like, yeah, the alpha damage, nothing special. Or at the first snipes in this battle, I was not able to deal that much damage, but you know, damage is damage, guys. 450 is still better than nothing. 400 is still better than nothing, right? And the shell velocity, oh my lord, the shells are so fast. Like, standard shell velocity is 1700, which is already giga fast, but the premium APCR has 2000 meters per second shell velocity, which makes it the fastest shell in the game. And on the test server's training room, we actually tested out this shell velocity, auto-aiming only into a side, moving targets, how easy it was to hit like fast tanks, you know, if they're moving under 90 degrees of an angle sideways for you, and you own the auto-aim. Can you hit every single shot even with auto-aim? Well, we actually found out that even though the shell velocity is giga fast, it has one big weakness as well, and this is the gun arc limit, which is 5 degrees left, 5 degrees right, and if you are trying to auto-aim side targets and hit them that way, who are moving sideways and hit them that way, then your hull has to move a lot, and that one is a little bit laggy, so it wasn't that easy. It was just a random test we did. And by the way, we also, you know, found out the best way how to take out NC-70s, guys. If you cannot penetrate this, you know, Wargaming always says you need to adjust your gameplay. You need to adjust your position. Just adapt, ladies and gentlemen. And the best way to take it out is to simply do this. You go on the top of it, and it's GG, ladies and gentlemen. So, you heard it here first, right? Anyway, overall, what kind of vibes I was getting in this tank was like with the new buffed version of the WZ-113 GFT, the tier 10 Chinese tank destroyer. Like, I honestly got the same vibes. It has some better things, some worse things. You know, of course, VZ or WZ-113 can snipe even at 550 meters away targets until 750 alpha damage, but you know, it has 50 less when it comes to close range. It has a little bit weaker DPM, a longer reload time for 750 alpha. I think around 12 seconds reload, not 10 seconds what this tank gets. Armor is maybe not as good, but the mobility is in the same region, and just got the same vibes. But of course the heat penetration, 395 heat penetration, he's also kinda nutty on WZ-113. So gameplay wise, it is not going to introduce anything new, and honestly I wouldn't sweat too much about the shell mechanic either. Like, you know, 650 damage at Grilla 15. I played this tank as I would play WZ, as I would play any other turretless tank destroyer. When I have a shot, I'm going to take it. I'm not even thinking about the range of this. By the way, that was pretty nutty shot. I have to say, lucky and nutty at the same time. So yeah, I'm keeping it simple. If I have a shot, I'm going to take it. And if I have a chance to penetrate something with high explosive at 100 meters away, I'm going to load high explosive. You know, honestly, tip to you as well, don't think too much, don't go too crazy thinking about this mechanic, the new shell damage based on the distance. Just play how you play and the damage comes in, guys. 10-second reload, even for 600 alpha, for 500 alpha, you know, I have seen worse, ladies and gentlemen. As far as the armor goes, well, let's take a look at it versus the same shell type over here. 292 millimeters of BPGG M85/175 shell with 1700 velocity. You can see, yep, a lot of red, guys, a lot of red. So on flat ground, to penetrate the upper area, but it's visible. You need minimum 200, let's say 90 millimeters of penetration to actually penetrate it, because over here you have 66.8% chance, for example, while the lower plate is penetrable for tier 10 tanks, and on the flat ground even the lower plate, let's say for tier 8s, which this tank is going to see in or on live server battles, is going to be quite tough to penetrate. But if you use your gun depression, you can already see, like, let's put gun over here. If you use your gun depression and you hide everything over here, then good luck trying to penetrate it. You definitely need premium rounds, and this is how, you know, this is what happened in the first battle I showcased. People were able to penetrate me, let's say, on the angle like that, because they were a little bit on the higher ground as well, and sometimes they did penetrate, sometimes they didn't, depending on their penetration roll. But the full hull down, there are those areas which are penetrable, so if the MC70 reveals those, now you know that you can actually go through that as well. So, like, overall, you can see it's shaped like the old Minotaurus turret, and this hides the commander hatch as well, which is already very, very tiny. So, guys, this is how it looks like, and I showed you, or I told you about my equipment loadout already. This is the main equipment loadout which I liked to use, and this is the secondary, with the secondary ventilation as well, DPM 4887. Pretty nutty DPM, guys, actually, in close range. There have been some battles where I have been able to use this DPM quite a bit, like, you know, in the battle that was playing on the background on the Lakeville. Close range, many high alpha damage shots, slap after slap after slap, 10.14 second reload. If you would use the Bond rammer. Do you even have Bond rammer? Okay, I do one. Let's see. What would be the DPM? Did we cross 4,000? No, I want to put it over here. Let's go back. I want to put it with the ventilation. Do we have 4,900? Yep, 4,900 TPM, close to 5k, guys, in close range. You can rip a lot of enemies into pieces, and with let's put the rammer back on, because this is how I would use it on the live server as well. And this is one of those tanks where I run the orderly ammo rack as well. Mobility, 50 top speed, very nice, right, for a tank destroyer. 18.19 powered weight ratio. View range is the only thing that is lacking, but we are close up and personal. We do not need to see them. They are at 50 meters away from us, and we keep slapping, just like that. Camo 28. So it doesn't have the worst camo in tier 10 compared to some other tank destroyers like Rilla 15, for example, you know, which gets even worse camo. But, you know, not the craziest one either. Survivability, 2,000 hit points, 1,000 horsepower engine. There it is, guys, and the nuttiest, craziest shell velocity. This is MC70 Blyskawica, first gameplay action, first testing with it. I would honestly love to see this on live server battles as well, or more live server-ish battles. So I will give it a couple more days, then the test server will settle down a bit, will slow down a bit with those tanks, and we're able to get more live server-ish matchmakings where there are, you know, bigger variety of tanks playing. But it is good time to play against it, to learn how to play against it. Yeah, have you tested it out yourself as well? What do you think about that? Do you think it's going to break the game? In good player hands, this tank is going to be, once again, one very annoying tank to deal with. Actually. Annoying tank to deal with, annoying tank to take out, to penetrate. You better carry some 2 keys in your pocket. Otherwise, you are simply going to receive quite a big tank repair pill. Guys, let me know what you think about that in the comment section down below. I hope my today's video was a little bit helpful, informative, helping to make your decision if you want to go after this tank or not. Early gameplay action. Let me know what you think about that, guys. I catch you next time with something else. Have an absolutely wonderful weekend. See you all later.